If we plug in 4, then we would get 4 minus 4 is 0, right? 4 plus 1 is 5. And is this true or false? True, we shade. False, we don't. Is 0 greater or equal to 0? 0 is greater or equal to 0? Yes, because it's or equal to. So we would fill that in. Okay, now let's test a point in each region. So now I'm going to test right in here, and I'm going to do 0. Plug in any number, just pick one between -1 and 4. So if I plug in 0, then let's see what happens. So up here, if I have 0 minus 4, I would get -4. If I have 0 plus 1, I would get 1. Okay, is this true or false? Is -4 greater or equal to 0? No, so we're not going to shade there. Now if we plug in a value greater than 4, let's do 5. So if we plug in 5 minus 4 is 1. Remember, I'm plugging that number in for both x spots, wherever I see x. 5 plus 1 is 6. Is 1 times 6 or 6 greater or equal to 0? Yes. So we are going to shade there. Similarly, down here on the far left, if we plug in a number less than -1, I'll plug in -2. Let's see what happens. -2 minus 4 is -6. And -2 plus 1 is -1. So is -6 times -1 or 6 less than or equal to 0? Oh wait, I meant to say, is it greater or equal to? Is 6 greater or equal to? Yes. So we're going to shade that region. So now when we write our answer, we're done. We've tested our critical values and we've tested points in different regions. Remember, you look from left to right to see where shading is. So as I look on the far left, I see -infinity. So I need to start there. Remember, infinities have parentheses. So I'm going to do parenthesis, -infinity, comma, wherever I stop. So then I stop at the circle, -1. There's a bracket because it's filled in. Then I have nothing, nothing, nothing. I start the circle again at 4. It's filled in, so it's a bracket. Comma, then you head off to infinity. Infinities have parentheses. Now when you have multiple sections, we're going to do union in between. Okay, we have 3 more to do. Actually, I'm only going to do 2 more with you. Your homework is going to be 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so actually, we'll just cross off 3. But just so you guys know, when you set this factor equal to 0, right, you would get, you would get 4/3. Okay, so for number 4, if we set each factor equal to 0, all terms are on one side, we would get -8. We would get -2. And we would get 3. So we have our critical values. So then when we make a number line, I'm going to do those on here. So I have -8. Doesn't matter if they're spaced out properly. -2. Just make it easy to look at. And 3. Notice I'm not doing more dash marks or else it's going to get confusing. So now what we're going to do is we're going to test those values and values in between. Now I want to show you. Let's go up to 1 and 2. Notice for 1 and 2 that, let's look up here. Those critical values, you can right away look at the original symbol and know if it's going to be open or closed circles. So my critical values for number 1 of 4 and -3, because there's no line under the inequality symbol, right? If the inequality symbol is like this or like this, it's just going to be open circles on those values. Notice over here, for number 2, the critical values 4 and -1, they're actually going to be closed circles, which they were, because of the inequality symbol. So that saves you a little time. When you have the or equal to, you know on the critical values it's going to be closed circle. So with that being said, to save a little bit of time, we know because of the greater than or equal to, the or equal to means we're going to have closed circles on -8, -2, and 3. So I'm going to save myself some time. I'm going to do closed circles here. But if you're not sure, you could just plug in and see what you get. Okay, so let's plug in an easy value first. Let's do 0. Right, we have to plug in here, so let's try 0. So if I test 0 and I plug 0 in here, here, and here, wherever you see x, right, I would get 8. 0 plus 2, we would get 2. 0 minus 3, we get -3. Now, just to save ourselves some time, we know if we have a positive times negative, this is going to be a negative number. So right away, if I ask myself, is a negative number, whatever that negative is a negative greater or equal to 0? No. So we cross off. Now let's pick a number in this region. So if we've tested a number in this region, let's test -3. So -3 plus 8 is 5. -3 plus 2 is -1. -3 minus 3 is -6. Oops. And let's see what we get. So I have 5 times -1 is -5. -5 times -6 is 30. And is 30 greater or equal to 0? Yes. So we have solutions in this region. So then I'm going to test a point in this region. I'll pick a value greater than 3. So I'm going to try 4. So 4 plus 8 is 12. 4 plus 2 is 6. 4 minus 3 is 1. Okay, we know that 12 times 6 times 1 is going to be a big positive number, right? We know clearly it's going to be a positive number that's greater or equal to 0. So you can save yourself a little time. So we're going to fill this in. And technically you're filling in the arrows, right? Heading to infinity. Lastly, let's test a number down here. So let's try -9. We're almost done. -9 plus 1 is -1. -9 plus 2 is -7. -9 minus 3 -12. Oh. Okay, so let's see, -9 plus 8, -1, -9 plus 2 is -7, -9 minus 3 is -12. Okay, so we have +7 times negative. It's going to be a big negative number. A negative number is not going to be greater or equal to 0, so we're going to hit cross off here. Okay, so if we move from left to right, we can write our solution. We're not touching any shaded region until 8, -8, so it's going to be a bracket at -8, comma, we stop at -2. Then we don't touch anything, so then we're going to have a union, bracket on 3. When you're heading off into any direction, arrow direction, you're heading into the infinity section, and we're going to do parentheses. That's our solution. Okay, last one. Okay, 5. Make sure you get all terms on one side. So don't forget, if let's say there was a -4 over here and it said x squared plus 5x is less than or equal to 0, you would need to move the -4 over first, which is what the problem looks like. Okay, so you get all terms on one side, then you try to factor. If you can't factor, you have to use quadratic formula. So for this one, what multiplies to a times c, that adds to b. So what multiplies to 4, that adds to 5. Is there a combo? There is, so I don't have to do quadratic formula. 1 and 4. So we'll have x plus 1 times x plus 4 and I set my factors both equal to 0, so I get x equals -1, x equals -4. Let's do our number line. So we know -4 would be farthest to the left. Let's say -1's here. Okay, last time doing this. So let's plug in -4. Well, we don't even remember the critical values. You can look at the original symbol. So because of this symbol, I know that it's going to be a closed circle on -4, -1. If you're not sure, you can plug it in, but it would be a true statement. And you can either plug into the original form or the factored form. I'd plug into factored form because it's much easier, right? So let's test a point in each region. So we need to test something here, here, and here. So over here on the far right, I'm going to try 0. So if I test 0, and I'm going to plug it into the factored equation in both x spots, it's a lot faster. If I plug in 0, I would get 1 times 0 plus 4 is 4. And if we ask ourselves, is 4 less than or equal to 0? No, it's not, so we don't shade there. If I test a point in between, I can do -2. So -2 plus 1 is -1. -2 plus 4 is 2. So when we simplify on the left, we would get -2. And is -2 less than or equal to 0? Yes, it is. So we shade in that region. Last number, let's try something over here to the left of -4. So let's do -5. -5 plus 1 is -4. -5. Yeah, -5 plus 4 is -1. So is 4 less than or equal to 0? No, it's not, so we don't shade there. And now we're going to write our solution. So remember, we move from left to right. So we start at -4. That's where we see our first shading. It's a closed circle, so we're going to do a bracket. So it's -4, comma. We stop at the next circle, -1, bracket. And that's our solution. And remember, we call this interval notation. Interval notation. So answers can be written in an interval notation. If you were going to write this in a different form, you could write x, meaning the solutions are less than or equal to -1. It's a conjunction. They're greater or equal to -4. These are the same answers, just written in different forms. But we want you guys to practice interval notation, okay? Okay, so now you are going to try 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and you're going to submit those for your class grade.